Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Oh, Lord. Hello, hello. Listen, we're going to go over today. We're going to be doing a lot of things. There's going to be some changes in regards to my coverage of the Diddy trial. I'm just going to go over the highlights. Excuse me. I'm going to go over the highlights of what happened during the day. So we're going to be going over yesterday's testimony, just going over the highlights. Again, Jane Doe is on the stand and she's being cross-examined. I think there was a little bit of direct testimony, and then she was going to be cross-examined. And so let's just kind of go over. Let's go back over her direct testimony. Because I believe yesterday, as I was reading, I believe that she finished up all the direct testimony that she needed to do. So let's just talk about briefly over the thing. And I'm going to be using CNN as the arbiter of all the things that happened yesterday. So this is not an all inclusive of what's going on, but just hitting the highlights. Jane testified, some of the highlights is that she testified that her and Combs continued to be in communication. Because remember, her and Sean Diddy Combs was in a relationship from 2021 to 2024. Matter of fact, that she was still in a relationship with him when he was arrested in September of 2024. They had gone on a break between the end of October and through February. Now, saying that, she also testified that she appeared before a grand jury. She also testified that she appeared for a grand jury in November 2024. She was asked how she felt about Sean. She said she still prays for his healing. She doesn't have any ill wills against him. She then continued to talk about the nights, the hotel nights and things like that, and how money was, because the prosecution seems like they're really trying to hone on about the money, the payment for the transportation of these entertainers, as we're going to call them. They're still honing in on that. They're also talking about or trying to horn in on this coercion by fraud. And they're saying that the fraud is basically he promised her love and affection and to be her man and things like that. And every time that he wanted to every time she pulled away, he always talked about or talked sweet nothings in her ear and everything like that. And she continued to believe him and everything like that. And I always attribute songs to this. And last night I heard Keisha Cole sing "I Should Have Cheated," and there's just like words in that song where she talked about how I trusted you and how I did, and that made me think of Jane Doe when I heard that song, how she was still, in that song, "I Should Have Cheated." Keisha Cole's Keisha Cole was talking about how she loved this man. She knew he was doing all of these different things, even if these different things were antithesis of what she believed or anything, but he always showed her a piece of him that made her believe that he was worth fighting for. He loved her, anything like that. And so that's what made me think about this. Now, I know it's a little cheesy, it's a little thing, but that's what that made me think of, because a lot of times we get on here and we talk about this this moral superiority about what I would have done, and I wouldn't have let no such and such. And there's no way in the world, there's not a woman on this earth that's not walking that hadn't had a man to tell them what they wanted to hear, and you believed them, and you stayed in a relationship way much longer than what your current mind tells you that you would have. And so again, I know, because I know a lot of us want to call people out their names and say, "Oh, she's a this, she's a that." But baby, I will tell you, and I will explain it to you the best way I know how. Some of y'all hold around for a 2 for 2 at Applebee's. Some of y'all hold around just for someone to tell you that they like you, they find you beautiful, or any of those things like that. And your horn may not be at the level of somebody else's, but there's not anybody that hadn't hoarded for nothing. And if you say you hadn't, use a lie, and the truth ain't in you. Like I said, what you hoeing for may be different from somebody else. And I know people want to get up here and say, oh my gosh, Pam, you're talking crazy. No, I'm using that word intentionally because there are things that we will accept transactionally and not necessarily money. That's why I was making sure I said that and said it as clear as I could. Some people are out here whoring for likes and views, clicks and views. Some of you all for the delusion of a relationship. This man doesn't publicly take you out in public or anything like that. He likes for y'all to stay at home. You're not recognized as his girlfriend publicly, but you hold yourself out for the delusion of a relationship. My man, my man, my man. You're doing little things, always these little subliminal things that you put out here. Just wanting somebody to guess who your man is. You whore yourself out for that. And guys, you're not excused from this too. You do the same thing. You know, this is what I am not describing. Again, I'm not describing anything that has to be gender specific. I'm just saying we all have whored ourselves out for something other. Now, some people, I don't know. They talked about Jane testified that after Sean left, that his assistants would drop off $10,000 to $12,000 in cash to pay both the entertainer and for the damages to her home. So she had the baby oil damages and everything like that. And see, this is delusion. She thinks that's her home. No, baby, you a renter. And you're really not even that. Because I sure hope you have a new place of residence. I know that he is paying I know he's still paying the rent and everything like that within this particular place. But after a while, he's not going to pay for it. I've heard some pundits say that it was smart as far as with the defense for him to continue to pay it to show that there is some love and caring or something like that out of Diddy's part. But also you could look at it too, that it was he was continued to pay to make sure that she spoke highly of him. She talked about a physical altercation, and she testified that Combs instructed her to put on makeup to cover her injuries and take an ecstasy pill because he had invited an entertainer over. Jane said she told him, I don't want to, but Combs got close to her face and said, is this coercion? She testified that she eventually went on with the hotel night. She testified about a fight that she had. She also testified about seeing the Cassie surveillance video. And how Sean hired an attorney for her that she has to this day. She said that he suggested a clean break. She also talked about after she saw that surveillance video with Cassie, and that she also read Cassie's lawsuit. And I had said this the other day. Hopefully she saw herself in that lawsuit. And from what my understanding that she did, she realized that she was not the only person that he was doing this to. I don't know if that shook up her psyche or not, but she realized that she was not the only person. She realized that he was doing this before. This was nothing unique. I hope that made her question, but obviously it didn't make her question enough because of the fact that she went back to him after February. Now, she did testify earlier that, The hotel nights was only like maybe like 4 or 5 times since from like February up until the time that she was arrested. But that a lot of that had to do with the fact that I think Diddy knew that they were investigating him. I think that he knew that they were investigating him, and he was trying to make. Well, he dumb Pam. Of course, he knew. They had the raids, so I think that he was holding low until till anything. I don't think Diddy knew or understand. Well, no, I won't say that either. Hush, Pam. I don't know if he understood the severity of what they were looking at. He possibly knew about the physical violence against Cassie. And I think that's why he came out and was trying to, with the video, trying to say, oh, it was messed up. I didn't mean it, da 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 da, because he figured that they were going to be trying to get at him for the physical violence of Cassie. I don't know if he thought that they were going, I guess because he may have thought that because he settled that lawsuit with Cassie, that the feds weren't really looking at that. And that's a lesson that I had to learn earlier within this. Your civil lawsuit, a civil lawsuit against someone can trigger a criminal investigation, particularly if what you've said in that lawsuit, if what has been said in that lawsuit is investigated and appears to be the truth, and it also appears to be illegal. So I think what triggered the feds is when Cassie had in that lawsuit about the freak offs and where they would go and how they would get these freak offs together. Excuse me. Good day yesterday. Today, the cross-examination is going to be cross-examination is happening. So the defense is definitely going to hone in on all the little different stuff. I will say there's a couple of things that happened yesterday, because when we left out of Saturday, you notice that the defense had filed for a mistrial, stating particularly of that testimony between Brianna and Cassie. They were basically saying that Brianna mixed up those dates, so therefore it couldn't have happened. All of these little different things, and we thought that they were going to go over that information yesterday, and they did not. Basically, the judge gave the prosecution time to answer, to provide their answer, and he was going to rule on that on Tuesday, which is today. And so I will be going over that as well, so we can be caught up as well as what's going on with the court. I'll go over that on my next video. But again, like I said, I had a lot of stuff going on yesterday. I'm just giving you the highlights of what happened. I still want to keep up with what's going on. And then I'll come back and we'll go over what happened on Tuesday, June the 9th. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, this Diddy case of prosecution only has this week left. So we're going to see if they're going to tie things up, or are they going to wait until their closing argument to let everybody know? Because right now, it's like we've got this big old puzzle, and we have been presented with the puzzle pieces. And it looks like we can only connect a couple of the pieces together. We haven't kind of connected all the pieces. And then there are some pieces that we can't even really figure out if they actually go together or not. So are we going to have to cut the edges off of a couple of pieces to build this puzzle? You know, it won't be the perfect puzzle. Because again, there's, we all look for the gotcha moment, and there has not been big gotcha moments in this case. There has been some good testimony that has come out. And again, I think a lot of people are looking for that Perry Mason, that Matlock, or that Law and Order SUV moment, looking at, oh, well, I don't understand. It's not illegal to be a freak. It isn't. But it is illegal to take them people. It is illegal to pay for sex work, schmex work. And it is illegal to transport those people across state lines or going into different countries for that. So for whatever you believe in regards to, in my opinion, and this is me looking at the whole case, the RICO, they've got little different pieces, but I want them to kind of tie it together, how this goes with this and that goes with that. I mean, because they've stated it, they outright stated it, they have people to corroborate stuff, but I don't know why I'm just looking for this Al Capone way. I'm looking for the tax people or the accountants or somebody to come in and tell me how this money was moved a certain different way. Because again, as a layperson, racketeering for me, I'm looking for how the money is moving. Now, I understand the concept of it, but I'm just needing for it to be woven together. That's what I need in regards to the RICO. As far as, have they shown us the points that they're trying to pull for that RICO? I believe that they have. Now they got to, for me, they've got to make it make sense. I hear that they're giving me the information, but I'm not making sense of all the information I got. It's overload in regards to the RICO. I understand clearly about the transportation charge. I understand them charges. There's no way that you can make me not believe that those charges are there. Because not only, like I said, not only did Cassie and Jane Doe say that they were arranging some of these things, but Diddy was arranging them as well. We also understand, and we are being so very for real, that even though Cassie was the person paying the money, even though at one point Jane Doe was paying the money, we knew where the money was coming from, where that money was coming from. Because again, when you look at Cassie, when you look at this and you look at the number of freak offs, Cassie nor Jane Doe had enough bread, had enough money to move that much money to pay that many people. And I'm just going to be very real about that. It's clear to me. So he has that. Now, the trafficking charge, I can see it. I got the information that you're giving to me. I just need it to tie together. I just need you to give me that extra, and you can do that in your closing arguments. I'm not even opposed to that. That can happen in the closing arguments. I just need that little extra piece. So again, the transportation thing got him right. That dead to rights. I'm sorry. Some of those people testified. Sorry. When you got the travel agent, when you got the bad boy cards and the money and stuff like that. Sorry. Who's paying for the rooms? Who's paying for all of this? I'm sorry. I think he's dead to rights on that. Now, again, you can morally feel how you morally feel. I've heard a lot. I've been in a couple of panels and people talk about, well, Cassie was doing this and she should be done this. I know what that is. It's always our fault. Whether it goes bad, if it goes to trash, whatever happens, it's our fault. I understand. So I understand morally where we want to go with this, but they have outlined this woman as a victim, whether you think she is or not. Again, going back to perfect victimhood, if he hadn't snatched her out them bushes and she don't know him from a can of paint, then that's not considered a perfect victim. And so a lot of times we speak and want to say, oh, because of these parameters of perfect victimhood hadn't been taken, you're not a victim. And that's not the truth. But we'll continue tomorrow. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Please tell a friend, a kin, a coworker, tell that heifer that you cannot stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people,